Yourself?
Yourself?
What about yourself?
Yourself?
What about yourself?
Is this 2 meters? Kind of.
We're in our love.
Oh, we're in the bubble. Love bubble. Now you are allowed to bubble with one other household, if that household is a single parent or a single person.
It's kind of cute when as soon as you find out about that, you phone me straight away.
Yeah, because I thought if we could film our podcasts from a single camera angle, it'd be less editing for me.
So that's why you want to be in the bubble? There was no other reason?
No, I missed you.
Yeah, I thought so, mate.
Do you think we could do a whole podcast without talking about coronavirus and lockdown?
We will be doing one without it because I don't want to hear about it.
No, I'm fucking bored senseless of talking about it.
Let this just all be over now and life goes on.
There are some things I think we should talk about which kind of are connected to it. Racism. Racism in America has been boiling and boiling and boiling and boiling away, and it was inevitably going to blow the lid off it at some stage or another. Yeah. And I think it took the utter frustration of the whole general public being in lockdown, B, a lot of them now out of work and unemployed. It took this whole wave of frustration, and then this one incident just lit the fuse, and it was boof.
Yeah, of course, because besides what happened in the media, like there's shit's going on all the time, which you wouldn't even have seen.
No. I find racism itself very weird.
Of course.
That anyone would take such a huge dislike to someone else without knowing anything about them.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But, judging them based on the colour of their skin, religious background or whatever, yeah, we're all the same species.
Yeah, of course.
We all experience the same emotions, the same thoughts probably. It just seems a bit weird.
Yeah, there has to be enough generations for it to have dissolved itself.
Yeah.
It's still there's still programming there, Yeah. And that's why it still comes through because, that's what it's conditioning. People get conditioned this way and they don't even know why they're like that. They don't have reasons as to why they're like that.
One thing I will say though is the sudden removal. I mean, look, a lot of TV shows that they removed off Netflix and various other places because they would contain racist content is fair enough. But there was some stuff that was taken down because it had a racist character in it. Racism itself, it's important to teach people that racism is wrong. Mm-hmm. And if you have, for example, Faulty Towers, that one episode was taken off where the major, the old bumbling fool who's a relic from the Second World War, this old bumbling fool uses the N-word, that doesn't make the program racist. It's just a program that happens to have a racist character in it. And when you watch it, you laugh at him. You look at it and you go, you stupid old twat, But for them to suddenly take all that stuff off, I mean, where the fuck do you draw the line? Do you then go further out into anything that offends anyone has to be removed? Because then basically all films have to be taken off. Horror movies, gone. The Exorcist, anything like that has the cross and Jesus and anything against the church, gone.
It's not realistic to do that.
Well, no, but this is the point. Certainly there are some things that needed to come down if it constitutes that the program might be racist.
Yeah.
But if a program is covering something, what happens if they make a movie about the slave trade? Are they still allowed to tell that story for historical purposes? Nazis during the Second World War, that was racism.
Yeah, of course.
Racism against the Jews.
I think things like that are different because it's an educational thing about what happened.
But that's the point.
Yeah, but
this sort of mad panic to just quickly remove anything that even has a mention of anything racist in it. They need to be a bit more on the ball with saying, this is something that's covering the topic of racism, but it's important because it's educational in the way that it's portrayed, or it's something to do with historical facts, and therefore it has to stay because it's still important for people to know what happened. Mm-hmm. But, racism is fucking stupid. It's stupid.
It's a waste of time.
Do you think maybe though that this whole corona lockdown and now this wave of anti-racism protests in the US will hopefully change the world to be a more tolerant place?
It has to. I think the universe or whatever, you wouldn't wish any of all this shit to happen, but sometimes things do have to come to this.
Yeah.
For things to develop and change.
Yeah.
Things will blow up eventually. Only so long things can go on for. So there can only be a positive that comes from both things after this.
Yeah.
There has to be.
You'd fucking hope so, wouldn't you? I just don't think that there's any room in this world in 2020 for racism.
No, I agree.
You're working on an album at the moment, aren't you?
I'm working on a compilation album.
Right, what's...
Well, actually, I'm working on a compilation, Artist Skullduggery Volume 2.
When's it coming out?
End of November, I'd say. November time.
Have you got all the material?
Not all of it.
How much?
There's a good bit to go. Because the thing was, I was originally going to be doing a compilation in China, so that's being transferred across, and then obviously I'm bringing in an artist to do CD2.
What's the situation in China?
Well, the clubs are back.
Are they open?
Yeah, the club that I was going to do it in is pretty much back to business. It's just waiting on the borders opening. But I think I would rather just leave that for a while.
Yeah, because I'm assuming if you travelled to China to do a gig, would you have to do 2 weeks quarantine on arrival into China?
Probably.
And then 2 weeks quarantine when you get back, which is no different to what we're doing anyway.
Yeah, probably. And you know, to be honest, I would rather wait until, you know, the club scene has sort of revitalised itself a bit, rather than going over to China, promoting an album from there when people are struggling.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's best to wait. So I'm doing that and just putting basic ideas together for my artist album.
Did you take all the material that was for that live album and put it onto the Art of Skullduggery?
Yeah, tracks are getting transferred over to that, and just basically looking for new ones too.
I like the new Skullduggery
Yeah,
t-shirt.
they're not bad. Check them out. So yeah, that's the albums. You've got a 7 coming.
Yeah, so 7 compilation album, 4 CDs, Simon Patterson, Sean Tice, Alex DiStefano, Orchidea, released on Friday the 2nd of October. I'd say we've got until, I think it's the 10th of July, a week under a month from now.
Yeah, to hand everything out.
To have the track list of tracks that we're going to license.
Okay.
Done.
Okay.
And I'd say Simon's is done, pretty much. We need like 2-3 more for him. Sean is getting there. Alex is nearly there as well. He's got about 13-14 tracks. Orchidea hasn't replied.
Not did anything?
Well, no, I mean, Tapio is, he's generally quite slow at replying to stuff. You normally have to chase him 2 or 3 times.
Okay. Does he have tracks for the album?
I don't know what he has. I mean, when we first did the group email sort of confirming the details, the dates, expectations, what were requirements, etc., it was that a minimum of 60% of each CD has to be exclusive.
I think that's fair for sure, at least that.
If you've got 18 tracks, I think 8 need to be exclusive, and the other ones need to be exclusive at the time of the album coming out. And by that I mean, if we're licensing it from another label, when the album comes out, it's not out on that label for another month.
To be honest, I've probably got, if I really looked into everything, I've probably got maybe most of my album there.
Yeah.
Or will do, easily. Yeah, which is good.
I think Simon's is probably, at the moment, he's got about 20 tracks, and I would say 16 of them are 100% exclusive to this album.
Brilliant.
It sort of just depends on which ones he uses, but his track list is super, super strong.
Yeah.
I would imagine from Sean's CD there'll probably be maybe 6 exclusives that are on 7. And by that I mean tracks that we sign for 7 that only exist on this album.
Yeah.
And then I would imagine he'll probably have another portion that are exclusive, but that he has signed to Regenerate.
Yeah.
So that we license them from Regenerate.
Yeah, fair enough.
But Alex said to me he's got about 12 or 13 already that are exclusive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I imagine
they're just basically contacting the artists themselves.
Yeah, just going to artists and getting material.
Yeah.
It has to be done that way.
Yes.
I can't do it. Because if I do a message out and I get a fucking kick-ass track in, how am I going to give it to one of those for?
You'll give it to yourself.
Yeah, but I'm not on the album, so...
You'll have to give it to your next album.
Give it to yourself. I have actually also started work on Solo Volume 2, which I'm going to mix.
When will that be?
I'm hoping to do it for March next year. And then obviously we've got Will Atkinson's Artist album, which I know we've talked about it a million times, but now we've got some solid dates and deadlines.
When's it going to be out?
I would imagine that the pre-order for the album, which means that we have a final track list and a front cover for the album, I'd imagine those 2 things will go live in the next 4 weeks.
That's great.
Yeah.
So has he got it pretty much finished?
Well, the album, in terms of what music is going to be on this album, the folder is complete. But of those, I think there's 17, possibly 18 tracks in that folder. But of those tracks, there are still 9 of them which are not final versions.
Right.
He's still got a lot of work to do. But
are they far off?
Just, no, not really. If he had no distractions at all, he could probably get it done in 3 weeks.
Okay.
But who is without distractions at the moment? You know, the fucking constant live streams.
There are a lot. I mean, I don't know, I'll go through... I laid off mine a bit, but I think if you... I'll say the same thing all the time. If you have something worthwhile and a story about it, I think it's a good thing. For example, Carl Cox has been doing quite a few, like, different ones, you know, like from different chapters in his career or different themes, or as long as it's cool, I think it can still be good.
Yeah, I agree. But the problem is, we did one for Avalon in LA, and then the next weekend, which was last Saturday, I did one for Tranceportal in London, which I really enjoyed actually. But now every promoter said, well, can we have one as well?
Yeah, that's impossible.
And how do you...
You can't do them all.
How do you say to some, look, I'm sorry, I can't, when it's a club you've played for loads of times? And
well, in that instance, it's how you can't really.
No. So what I'm working on is a massive 8-hour set, full warehouse production thing that I'm now confirmed because I booked it and booked the production, booked all the equipment and stuff. It's going to be fucking insane. I'm recording it on, or I haven't decided whether I'm going to broadcast it live or record it on the, whatever happens, it's happening on the 2nd of August.
Yeah, for something like that with so much effort put in, you're probably best recording it.
Yeah. The only issue is that these guys have the facility to stream simultaneously to loads of different, not only loads of different platforms, but loads of different people on the same platform, which means my plan is to connect with maybe 5 promoters around the world and have them all broadcast it simultaneously.
If it's rock solid, then do it like that.
Yeah, the thing is, if I record it and take the video away, because what I want to do also is, like, there's loads of custom visuals being made for this as well, and if I record it, then we can do loads of post-production afterwards to blend the visuals on top of the footage.
Yeah.
Which could make it quite cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I am going to just go and record it.
Yeah, maybe it'd probably be safest.
Yeah. And then I can decide what to do with it afterwards. Because also, to be able to broadcast it at a time when UK is awake, LA or West Coast is awake, and Australia, you'd basically have to start the live stream at something like 8 or 9 in the morning UK. It's Sunday morning, 8 or 9, 8 or 9 afternoon in Australia, and you'd be starting on Saturday night, whatever it is, 10 o'clock in LA.
Or you could do it at night time UK. It starts morning in Australia and then afternoon America. I think that's better.
Yeah, but then when would you do it? It's on a Sunday. And I don't want to do it at a time when Europe are all going to bed.
Oh yeah, it's 8 hours, yeah, of course. Yeah.
I don't know. My mind at the moment is probably geared towards just recording it and just getting the fucking insane video.
Yeah, you should.
Maybe then I say to them, what I want to do is after that, pay you to broadcast it as well.
The stream I did on Sunday was with the...
the exclusive?
Yeah, it was good.
Have you got a track list?
Yeah, basically, whenever I pre-recorded that one, so whenever the tracks were playing, the artist names came up for each
that's cool.
track. It was great to see, because like all these new guys who were just buzzing to get some records played. And like it reminded me back in the day when I started, when you've made a track and you got a DJ to play it, you're like, fuck, this is great.
Yeah.
And you sort of don't take it for granted now, but I'm just like, it put me back in their shoes a bit.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it is very hard to get tracks signed, and that's not going to change as far as our labels, or my label, or obviously you have 7. That's not going to change, but it'd be good. This is a good way to bridge the gap. And also I bridge the gap a bit with, say, you know, tracks for compilations and stuff, which you would sign.
Have you any of the tracks that you played on that live stream? Are you putting any of them on your compilation?
There's a couple which I've put into the final folder
for your comp.
Yeah, but obviously there's no guarantees until I get everything and work out what I'm actually going to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've taken a couple for it.
Oh, that's great. Have you got an MP3 of that set?
Yeah, it's up on SoundCloud now.
Okay.
Yeah. So the main thing for me was whenever I did this set was I didn't want it to sound far away. I don't mean it's any disrespect to producers or whatever. I didn't want it to sound far away from maybe the sets I would do.
So you didn't want to drop in quality.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I wanted when you listen to the set, you go, "Fuck, that's a it's not. It's a good set," and I enjoyed it. So it's something I would definitely do again. Not all the time, but maybe a few months down the line. It's good to give back as well, you know. It made me feel good because I got something out of it because I really enjoyed doing it. Obviously, I enjoyed hearing new music, and I liked seeing other people's names just bubbling around.
Yeah.
And I think it's needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
And actually, there's nothing more exciting than listening to a great mix and all the tracks you don't know.
Yeah.
Having to hunt down and find what that track was so that you can get it.
And yesterday on my Facebook page, that I listed the whole track list and I tagged in as many people as I could, on their Facebook pages, and then just put the SoundCloud link out. So that was good. Enjoyed it.
So we were talking earlier on today about the struggle of finding good quality vocalists and good quality lyrics in the context of making big vocal records.
It's one of the toughest tasks.
Yeah.
Like when I hear a vocal, I can tell if that's going to be a record before I'd even go near it. To get to that point, it's like, it's so hard to get. The tone of the vocal, the lyrics, the notes, just the music, it's like, you want it to be like a proper, like, epic song. Not just like vocals by numbers. I
think a lot of trance vocalists, and there are names that circulate that are predominantly known for doing vocals in trance, a lot of them have a template that they work to when it comes to lyrical content. And it's a shame that they can't break away from that. To be able to tell a story that actually relates to something in their real life.
But you were saying, you were sitting writing some vocals yourself.
Yeah. On the new Simon Patterson record, his next big vocal record, I've been heavily involved going back and forward on the lyrics with the vocalist Sarah De Warren. We've been kind of going back and forward, like me rewriting her lyrics, her coming back and saying why this wouldn't work, and her adding a bit. And basically both sharing the role of writing the lyrics.
Yeah. Because
the first song that was presented, the lyrics just didn't work. There was nothing in it that stood out as like iconic. And I mean, there are different benchmark records that you think they're probably one-offs, like Motorcycle as the Rush comes.
It's ridiculous.
Records like that. The lyrical content of that record is just perfect.
Yeah.
It's absolutely perfect.
That's the thing, you get a great vocal, there's always something you go,
Yeah. Well, lyrically, I mean, I'm always on the hunt for big vocal records to sign to Deep in Thought, even though the label now has diversified a bit and is now sort of a melodic label as well. But I'm always on the hunt for big vocal records. And actually, I mean, I would say in the last 3 weeks, I've probably been sent 2 or 3 where the track itself is brilliant or really good, and with a few changes could be brilliant. The vocalist is okay, but the lyrics are just fucking run of the mill. It's never going to stand out.
It's an instant no-go.
And you think actually that maybe some of them are writing lyrics according to what they think people want to hear,
rather than what's coming from inside.
At the moment, I'm working quite a lot at the moment with Shelby Merry, who's one of the most gifted vocalists I've ever encountered in any capacity. She did that phenomenal record with Tyus last year, Someday, and now I'm working with her on a track, and just the lyrical content, when you just read it or listen to the story she's telling, that comes from deep-rooted personal pain and anguish. And I like things that say this person is really laying their emotions bare on a table.
It's telling a proper story.
Rather than someone going, right, I'm going to write a record for trance fans. What do they like? They like hands in the air. There are 25,000 different cliches that always happen in trance lyrics, and I just, it'd be nice if you could sit someone down and go, look, you're an amazing singer. Your vocal tone and your ability and your range is fantastic, but let's talk about something that's happened in your life that fucking destroyed you, that was like a knife in the heart.
Yeah, of course.
Let's talk about that experience and then work out how you can tell that story and do it in such a way that it meanders and grabs people and makes them just, but comes out of it with a sense of hope and purpose at the end.
Yeah, because the other tracks just don't have that soul or that feeling.
No, soul. That's it. Soul is
it's depth.
Soul is what's missing.
Yeah, and depth.
I'd love to collaborate with Imogen Heap.
She's ridiculous.
She was a singer in Frou Frou, wasn't she? And then also Lana Del Rey. Fucking hell, what a voice.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, that album. What was the album called? The one, was it called Honeymoon, or was it called something else and there was a track on it called Honeymoon? Anyway, it's the album that has the track Honeymoon on it.
Ridiculous.
So good. There's been a few times actually recently where I've taken the dog out for a long walk and you're out in the beautiful countryside and you end up on top of a hill somewhere just in the middle of nowhere with a fantastic view, a little bit baked. and you just have that album on, that album, and also Anna of the North, her album Lovers.
You sent me that last month.
Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Fucking amazing album.
Yeah, it's
and I just sit there, the dog chills out, panting away, and I was just there going, oh fucking hell,
life is good.
Lockdown's not that bad. Yeah.
Happy days. We're here again.